9.10, ready to go after taking a quiz and having a mid-sized conversation about hair spiders. But 1 to 11, we have finally completed our set. So what we have now is combination, as always. 2 or more substances react, produce one. Decomposition, one substance breaks down, produces 2 or more. And we add on to that one, hopefully, the word heat, that we remember that's there, and history tells me sometimes people forget about that because they're too busy doing other things. 3, a single replacement. That's when an element and a compound react, and the element replaces a different element over in that compound. Double replacement we did yesterday. That's 2 compounds involved in the cation exchange, or there's other ways you could say that. And then neutralization is the lengthiest of the answers. Neutralization in practice will pretty much look just like double replacement, but it has to fit one of these formats that has a really long sentence, and in a minute I'll give you a note that breaks the one sentence down into 4 like mini options. Maybe you'll like that better or worse, I don't know, but I'll give you the mini options instead of the big sentence. So you could have an acid or an acid oxide, which is also called a non-metal oxide if you prefer, reacting with a base or a basic oxide. And a basic oxide could also be called a metal oxide. And it usually produces water. So if you want a 90% effective way to guess whether it's double replacement or neutralization,
See if there's H2O
if
yeah,
there's
on the
water
right.
there, 90% probable chance that it's neutralization. If you want 100% chance, you need to understand that longer sentence that I just said, or jot down these 4 like sub-problems that sentence would incorporate. But neutralization looks like double replacement for the most part. Question about top 11. 12, fairly open-ended, asked for 3 of the gases. I think there were actually 7 gases because I have CO2, I have SO2, I have N2O, I have NO, I have NO2, I have CH4. I also put CFCs for chlorofluorocarbons as a 7th choice. Carbon dioxide box, lots of choices. I threw on my paper about 6 or 8. Colorless, odorless, used for dry ice, dissolves in water to form carbonic acid. Carbonated beverages were mentioned. It's part of the carbon cycle, has an acid taste. It could kill you if it was greater than a 5 to 10% of your breathing materials for a long time. That's all. Anybody want to verify fact on any of that? And we've got old stuff. So oxygen is the key. Combustion, also called burning. Bases are metal oxide plus water. Salts are metals and nonmetals. Oxyacid is nonmetal water or nonmetal oxide and water. Electromotive series is an arrangement of metals by descending reactivity. Precipitate, however you want to say it. It's a solid that appears in a solution during a chemical reaction. Question about things. Absorption of information is done. Now we just need to utilize that information and rehearse that information and eventually test that information. It's going to take us several days to get to that point though. So what the homework is for tomorrow is to do number, what are we up to, 12? Right?
Yeah.
I didn't write that on my paper for some reason. So we're doing 12. Let's see if the syllabus knows. There's a 1-0. So there's a 1-0 and there's a 12. That's tomorrow's game. And I'm thinking we don't even take a quiz tomorrow because someday we won't. So tomorrow I could just help you with homework life if needed. But 12 is the name of the game. Friday, I'm thinking we do the quiz that's like the practice test, just to verify that it go up to 55. So have part of the practice test. Everybody's out. Handy. Have cut at 55, describe 4 types.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
There's more, but yeah.
Keep going, but yeah, but number 55 is describe 4 types.
Yeah.
And number 51 was like H2CO3.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where the Friday quiz would cut, 55 of those points. So that's Friday's game. Friday's homework is finally coming due, what I've been advertising forever, the 13th to 17th, Friday game. Go on a weekend, come back, couple classes from now. There is like a chapter end group of problems that goes 18 to 21, 23 to 26, chapter quiz, that last thing in there, that would be like a Monday project. And I don't even care when we do the quiz, I guess. We could decide that tomorrow, but I think tomorrow you're probably about ready to skip quiz for a day. Yeah, but then either Friday or Monday, we need to take that bigger quiz. I don't care when. Practice test might then fall on Tuesday, but as we said before we started to record, I hadn't quite laid out that far yet. But if I were guessing a day, it's probably practice test Tuesday. What's that? Something there. Okay. So let's see. What do I want to do? Let's just do the book examples first. We have some things that just punch out, but the order doesn't matter. So I'm working from 235. There's an example 9.10. The homework tonight will continue to be the way that it has been the last 2 days. They'll do all the equations on the left. You'll just do the rights. When you do the 2 homework away thing, that 18 to 26 chapter quiz, final homework, that's going to be more like what we're about to do now, where we're trying to write this stuff ourselves. But 9.10 says, complete and balance this, strontium hydroxide. So strontium, SR, somebody with a table, look and see if that's a 2. I think it is. Hydroxide is OH. That has a charge of 1. So to make this work,
Parentheses.
2. So that's one thing. Sulfuric acid. So as soon as you see acid, that starts with H. Binary or no?
No.
No, binary starts with hydro. So sulfuric is based on sulfate. Sulfate, SO4, with a charge of 2, so
H2SO4.
H2SO4. Some of you might have accidentally memorized H2SO4 by now. Doesn't hurt you to know that. I'll come back to that in a second. But question about writing? So 911 says copper 2 oxide. So copper,
Cu.
Cu. The Roman numeral 2 means it has a
Charge of 2.
charge of 2. Oxide.
OH.
Oxide is just a,
Oh.
that has a charge of
2.
2. So good so far on that. And hydrochloric acid. So hydro means
HCl.
HCl, binary acid, and we got question about left sides. So then let me take a side step. So here's how you know you have neutralization reactions. One option is you have an acid plus a base. If you have an acid plus a base, what you're going to get is a salt, and you're going to get water. I'll call that choice 1. Choice 2, you have a metal oxide. And by oxide, I mean has oxygen at the end. So this is some kind of an oxide. I guess that's technically an oxide. But you could have a metal oxide go with an acid, and that is also going to get you a salt and water. Backtrack 1. When I say base, what does base mean from last chapter test? How does a base easily identify itself? This has what?
OH.
An OH. Base ends with OH. So do we have any bases over there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who's a base? The top one, SR thing. Who else is a base?
The Li.
The Li thing is a base. So we have some bases. Do you have any metal oxides?
The CU.
Cu copper is a metal, so this is a metal oxide. That's a base. What's this?
Acid?
That's an acid. How do you know acids?
With H.
Because of the H. So here we have an acid and we have a base. So that is a neutralization reaction. That's going to make, in a minute, a salt and a water. That 911 one, that is a metal oxide and an acid. That is a neutralization reaction. That's going to make a salt and a water. I don't have any good looking ones up there to look at, but if you get a non-metal oxide to go with a base, and that, I guess I have that here. This is a non-metal oxide, and that's a base. So a non-metal oxide and a base is also going to give you, shockingly, a salt and a water. And then the fourth subcategory is to have a non-metal oxide with a metal oxide. And that is going to just make a salt. I told you seeing water was like a 90%. Sometimes it's not. And I have that going on here. This is a metal oxide. That's a non-metal oxide. All four of those are neutralization reactions. I did one of each kind. So whenever I made those notes, I was smarter than I gave myself credit for. But when you go to do 13 and 17, everything's going to look like double replacements. To decide which ones are neutralizations, 90% rate, see if you have water. But if you want 100% rate, you have to think it through. The way we just did, I don't want to do that again. Question about that? Here's a weird thing that happens for completing some of these. If you see a lonely old CO2, it's going to turn into an ion that you memorized and join friends with a partner. Lonely old CO2. Who do you think that would turn into that you memorized that's close to that? CO3, which has a charge of 2 minus. So if CO2 becomes CO3 with a charge, you kind of expect SO2 to become SO3 with a charge. You kind of expect SO3 then to become SO4 with a charge. Charges on those though are 2 minus. So that's a thing, you just want to be on the lookout for that happening. I think that's my notes, so then let's just do stuff. Question about stuff so far? Okay, so double replacement D, you'd expect the SR to go with
SO4.
SO4. How were the charges on that? They evened out, okay. Then you'd expect the H to buddy up with OH, but we're not going to write HOH, H2O, because if we're on neutralization day, we're 90% expecting to see water. Water we know is AQ, or we'll go L for liquid. Sulfates, I don't know. Somebody's find your paper with those rules. Sulfates are soluble. Are there solutions that involve strontium? Or exceptions with strontium?
Yeah.
Okay, so this would then be a solid because it hit an exception. Something about that. So let's go again. Cu with
CL.
Cl. Charges, this had charge of 2 because it was Roman numeral 2. Chlorine charge is 1, so
2.
2. And then we'd want a buddy who with who? H and O, but we're not going to go HO. That is H2O, which we know is a liquid. When it ends in Cl, that's called a chloride. So somebody with the list, chlorides.
All correct.
Soluble, no exceptions.
No exception.
Okay, so AQ.
Wouldn't you also have to put a 2 in the HCl to balance it?
Okay, yeah, we need to, I was going to balance, yeah. We need to balance them, yeah. Question about that. Yeah, we didn't balance, so we need to balance. So with 2 H's and 2 CL's, yes, 2 to balance that. That earlier one, did we have any issues?
I don't think so.
I do think so.
Oh yeah. You have to put a 2 with the H2O.
2 with H2O. The strontiums were good. And the SO4s were good. But this, when we put these together, there's 4 H's, 2 O's. So now there's 4 H's, 2 O's. So about that. So this lithium needs to get involved in the swaps. When lithium tries to swap with this, we need to use this. That was something I forewarned about a few minutes ago. Lonely CO2 is going to become CO3 and be the partner for lithium. What's the charge on lithium? 1, I think. So then that's got to have the 2. So lithium went with this. We're not going to get OH. We're going to get H2O. H2O is a liquid. Carbonates. Somebody check our rules. Insoluble. No exception for lithium.
Is it alkaline metal?
Is it in the right column to be an alkaline metal? Alkaline metals is what? Column 1, right? Is it in column 1? Okay, so does that make it an AQ instead? Alright. That's a stinker. Again, the CO2 thing here, we're going to want to go CO2 becomes CO3 on the same rule. So Cu grabs CO3. Charge, that was carbon, or copper 2 again, I think. So we're good on that. And there's nothing else there. We can't make H2O. This is the one weird one where we're just making a salt and we check out because there's no H2O possibilities. Balance? Yeah, that's already balanced. And they could, if they want to be a jerk, they could fool you because that looked like what? What type does that look like actually?
Combination.
That looks like a combination. So there's like a 1 in 100 chance that a combination reaction could actually be a neutralization reaction if it's a non-metal oxide with a metal oxide that just form a salt. They might sneak one of those in there ever, but I don't think they do. I don't remember that being a thing. Let's say something else there. Don't think so. I think I was done. Something about any of that? So again, 12 is what's next. 13 to 17 is 2 away. The chapter and homework is 3 away. Quiz is someday 2 to 3 away. Practice test is like 4 away.